Hello, this is my card art with a concept idea for a terrarium. So here I have this. Guess what the heck this is? When I saw this, I was absolutely elated. So my husband was kind enough to bring me home a cupcake. And yes, this is the container for the cupcake. So as you see, your fingers can go in it on the bottom and you can hold onto it. So I guess you don't drop the cupcake. So when he brought this home, I was like, I want the container. And he said, yes, dear, I know. You're going to have the container and I will eat the cupcake because I'm really not a sweet tooth person. And I just thought that was absolutely funny. He knows me so well. So my sweet man brought me this beautiful container. you know, it worked out great. And I am going to be using it to make this terrarium. And the concept idea means basically I'm giving you ideas how to make a terrarium, but you could fill this with anything. You can fill it with what I'm showing you here, butterflies. I kind of made this a summer theme and rolled up flowers, and you'll see as we get along in this all the different things that I'm using. I'm using this die cut to create that flower that you just saw in my hand earlier. But you can basically, put anything in it. I will be putting butterflies and you know me, I like butterflies and things made out of foam. I will be using different kinds of glue, but the concept idea is basically for you to have an idea of what it is and put things in it, whatever you want. So if you want to make it a Christmas theme, you can go ahead and do something Christmassy with poinsettia flowers. You can do something all roses. You can make this a man card, and for example, you can put little automobiles in there. You know how a lot of us have Legos and we don't know what to do with them. Well, guess what? You could put together a little Lego visual, some kind of a, Lego farm or, trees or Lego cars or whatever, and put that inside a terrarium. So the whole idea is you can add anything into it. Here I have these adorable old butterflies from foam, and I cut the stem off of that flower and I used that to stick into the butterfly. And I made it double-sided because the terrarium is see-through on both sides, and I really wanted to make it look nice no matter what angle I will be looking at. And of course, the person that I gave it to, I wanted to make sure that it looks really pretty as well. You could see those foam pieces of my butterflies. They have been around for a while, but I really like them. I bought them, oh my goodness, I want to say maybe 10, 12 years ago. And it was from a company that was sadly going out of business. And they had these amazing deals. So I bought a whole bunch of them, and I really like them because I use them a lot for different projects. So here I collected two of the butterflies that look the same, and I'm gluing them front and back. And my glue is just a generic glue. You want to use something that works really well. So you don't want to use something that'll swoosh around for too long of a time or dries too fast. Hot glue gun is also your friend here, so you certainly can use that. But sometimes it gets really stringy for me, and because this was a see-through container, I did not want to run the risk of using the hot glue gun and then having that touch the container and maybe even melting it. Because, again, this container was made for cupcakes. It wasn't made for this. So, no, I did not want to chance that because I only had one. And that's all. Now, you see that cute little container right there, that little itty-bitty little thing? Well, those are tiny little trinkets that you could buy for a wedding. So what I did is I helped a wedding reception, and I kind of gave the people some ideas on what to do. We got a bunch of things, and so what I did is I just reused some of that, and I had extra ones left over. And of course, this was like a little bird bath. So I created that little bird bath, kind of like a little flower container. And here I'm using that glue, the E6000 glue, and I like this because it is super strong. I also like it because you do have a few seconds to work with, but you have to wipe it. See, it has air bubbles when you press too hard. At least when I press, it had the air bubble. But I didn't want to have any problems with it or drying out on me, and so I wiped it down really well, and I highly suggest that. So, keep on wiping your glue containers on top because they can dry. But look how fast it just totally glues onto that little piece. So that's what I was using it to glue the flower in the middle. And this, of course, you've probably seen me use this in other videos. These are ribbons, folded. Isn't that wild? I mean, look how cool they are. And those stems, those are flower stems. They have fantastic bendable parts on it, so you can basically make them, circle, straight, whatever you want. And I like these. The colors I thought are so pretty, and it has gems on the leaves, and I'm just situating them and twisting them together. And you see how I have the blue and the green, and then I have the purple, and then the blue again. I did not want to have two blue tops, so I kind of offset them to make it look pretty. But again, this is just a visual idea, and you can use them from right to left, left to right. And if you don't have something like this, I'm sure you have something different. So again, this is just an idea. Although you have maybe a certain object that is separate by itself, sometimes you can combine them, twist tie them together, or glue them together. You can glue them front and back if you have an item or something that's see-through, and you have a very nice visual display from both front and back. This container obviously is completely see-through, and I wanted to create a very clean effect where what I'm making will look good and still kind of hold together. So I don't want it to fall apart as soon as you turn it upside down, because I'm pretty sure the first thing that'll happen is somebody will look at it and go, oh, what is this? And turn it upside down. At least that's what I do. Here on the bottom of this little plastic container, I'm adding extra glue to the side. See that? Look what I'm doing there. Because this is not straight. It has a little bit of a curvature. So if I'm gluing it on something that's straight and I have a curvature and a hollow middle, there's more chance that it'll fall off. And obviously I don't want the centerpiece to fall off. It would look kind of silly. So I added the extra glue to hold it better. And it filled in that gap between the bottom of that little fountain. And I'm using that little fountain, of course, as a little flower container. Okay, so I'm not going to do my nails on screen, but as you see, I'm going to be using it for something else. There's my glitter, my bling, with a screw top. And again, these are some older supplies, but they're wonderful. They work great. And I'm using regular Q-tips. So if you don't have certain supplies at home, you don't have to keep on, buying things all the time. Just get creative. Look what you have. Here I'm using the Q-tips to dig into my glue, and I will be adding that on to the top of the flower. And yes, you guessed it. That'll have the glitter on it. Again, I didn't want to squeeze the glue on top of the flower because I didn't want to have that stringiness coming along and ruining my entire project. So again, just to reiterate, you can use everyday things for crafting. You don't have to have new items, and you don't have to keep on buying different tools because your space will be chaotic. Look at this. See what I'm doing? That part back there, that little curvature part, it has like a little dimple in there. So when I'm scooping things with it, like glitter, or if I want to even scoop a little bit of water when I watercolor and I want to have just a little bit of drop of water, and I don't have a water droplets, it's perfect. I can use that. And so what I did is I scooped some of that glitter right onto that flower, and I'm mixing and pressing down with the Q-tip the glitter parts and also the glue. And the reason I wanted to really incorporate the two pieces, actually I should say the two materials, because I don't want to have glitter all over the place, and I'm kind of picky about that. So my work area, when I work with glitter, when I'm done, nobody could really tell I work with glitter. So if you incorporate the glitter with the glue, like add a glue top on it, or for example, you put maybe gesso on top, or any kind of a coating, the glitter won't fall off and you will not have a hot mess. See, look, kind of incorporated in there. So now your flower has a little bit of a bling. So it makes it super easy and very user-friendly. And there I go again, using my nail tool for probing and poking. So you don't have to run away and, oh geez, I don't have this, I don't have that, and start purchasing a bunch of things. Save your money. Look around. I'm sure you can come up with different things and different concept ideas you can use to add onto your project. Now, the other thing is too, when you are working with something and you're not sure how you're going to be doing it, just situate it out, whether it's a card that you're making or scrapbooking. Get your stuff together. Get all the things you like and say, hey, I like this, I like that. I want to have a little dog on it, or I want to have a little kitty. I want to have birds. I want to have this and that. I want to have Halloween, pumpkins. Just bring it all onto your table, your craft area, and then Don't be afraid to get more on your craft table than what you're using. And then when you're working with your project, just situate it, move it around. You might use a lot of it, you might not, and that's okay. That's how you can really tell if you like what it looks like. You see how I'm kind of playing with it, moving it from left to right? Well, that's my biggest suggestion is when you're making something artistic, you don't have to have it all figured out in the very beginning. Look what I'm doing. I'm bending that stem. See that? And I'm trying it out. Watch what happens. I don't like it. I cut it off. So I modify it. So there doesn't have to be a certain specific way you're doing things. Just play around with it and move it around. And I'm even closing the lid to make sure I'm not too high up. And this lid can still be closed and then opened up. And I'm thinking maybe I push it here, I put it there, a little bit left, a little bit right. So I purposefully did not edit this out because I wanted you to see when I create something and how I kind of come up with these ideas, how I come up with them. See, look, I'm just sticking that piece right into the tube. I don't have to take it out and put it someplace else. It just goes right in there. Boom. And I'm adding some more glue to the back because I want to make sure this project will last. And I'm sure, I I I know how I am, so I'm sure maybe the person who received this little terrarium may end up dropping it. I know I drop things a lot, so I'm sometimes not safe to be around because I drop things off the table and out of my hand. So I'm sure somebody who gets something, they might end up dropping it, and I don't want this thing to fall apart on them and just open up and go everywhere. So I want to make sure where I'm going to be gluing things, it'll stay on. This glue I really like for quick and good strong bond. And that's why, as I mentioned to you earlier, that's why I'm using this. So once I got my flowers kind of like the way I want them, and again, these are ribbons, so this is all very soft materials to work with. The bendable part, those bending sticky long stems, the one that I'm pressing down with my right hand, they're very friendly to work with. So they're not sharp, they're easy to bend, so you don't have to have this major strength in you. If you happen to create something in the middle of the night, like I do, sometimes by then I'm a little sleepy and my hands are tired, and I have the TV going or I have some music going, and I start creating, and I'm like, oh, I want to work with this, and I work with that, and I certainly don't want to make it a burden. So I want to work with something, that makes me enjoy it, and I don't like to try to figure everything out on how to press it together or push it in there, or gee, this is too hard to cut, and get out my husband's tools and electrical equipment. So I like to work with softer things and things that are easy to use. So see these butterflies again? You see what I'm doing? That stem was the stem that I cut off from those silk flowers that you see. So I had the little piece and I just stuck it in the butterfly. Again, I didn't have to go out and buy something. I just cut a little piece off of one project and stuck it onto the other. And yes, I did put this one on the leaf, and you're probably going, what? But again, this is something that is open from all sides in terms of visual effects. So the recipient is able to see everything. And see, look, see that piece right there? It's a little bit damaged from me folding the butterfly. So what I did here is I wanted to hide it, and I figured which way is the best way to hide it. So which way do I want to put it? See how I'm kind of trying to figure it out? And so that's where I put it, because it had a little bit of a crack. Now, no, it wasn't a big deal. I could have lived without noticing that, but I like to make things pretty easy and pretty nice. So the end result is very clean looking. And again, I'm doing the same thing here. I'm kind of looking at my butterflies on both sides. Hey, which side looks better? Because obviously this project is enjoyed from all sides. And you see how that cute little plastic is? It has these little grooves in between. Why don't they have more cupcake holders like this? I told my husband, sweetheart, you have to go back and get more of these things. I mean, I totally can see this with a beautiful nativity. Can you imagine baby Jesus and St. Mary and St. Joseph in the middle, and then you see the trees in the background, and you see a little bit of hay? I mean, wow. I can just make so many different things out of this. Or I could make an underwater theme with fish swimming all around and seaweed everywhere. So the idea for this, for me, I was like, honey, can you get like a couple of dozen for me? He's like, no, we can't eat that much cupcake. So here I am coming back to this. I just pressed the little butterfly in the middle of the flower. And of course, I could have done that before, but did I come up with that idea earlier? No. I came up with it as I'm working the project. And that's what's so nice. This is how I relax. I don't plan everything ahead. I'm just making it, and things just fall right into place. I look at things and I say, does this, look good, or is this one missing a piece? Do I need to move this around? Do I need to add something? And that's how I make my projects. This is why they're all different, because I can't, imagine myself making the same thing over and over and over again unless it's for something very specific. Check this calla lily out. This is so cute. This is also from a ribbon. Look at that. And again, on just a regular flower stem, those bendy thingies. They use those for flowers, and when you make bouquets and stuff, and they do sell them at the art stores. They sell them in white. I've seen them in yellow also. They're mostly found in green, but when I see it in white, I always try to get some because they're very good, user-friendly little pieces. And so I added a calla lily and used the Q-tip to clean up any part of the glue and smear it so it works out just fine. And so I'm kind of incorporating the colors that I thought my friend would like. And of course, stick that right into the tube. I don't even have to press the glue out. Again, less mess. Save your projects, save your items, and it works out better. And I'm kind of hiding it in between because I really wanted to make it look as random as possible. And I wanted to create the flowers so they kind of match each other and yet have some colors that pop. I didn't want to make it monochromatic. I wanted to do different colors, but not so crazy where it kind of bothers you, if you know what I mean. Sometimes, you can mix colors together or patterns. Oh my goodness, patterns are sometimes so hard to match, in my opinion, because if you get the wrong pattern, woo, it could really be a disaster. You certainly don't want that. You want it to look really nice. So here, look how cute those are. Those are some of my favorite little embellishments. Oh, and they do jump around. These are little bumblebees. And they have little foam pads, double-sided stickiness right there. But I always, me, I like to add a little more glue just to make sure they don't pop off later on. And I have that little flower that I, handmade earlier too. Look what I'm doing. There's my friendly Q-tip again. Because I didn't want to put so much of a glob in the middle that, all you see is glue and your poor little bumblebee is covered in glue. I don't think it will look too good. So I'm just smearing some of that around. And I put the Q-tip back on top of the glue so the glue doesn't dry out so fast. There's less air to it, and that's one of the reasons I put that on there. You might be going, why did she do that? Well, I kind of capped it off for that reason. There's less air, so I'm not going to contaminate the tube, and I'm not going to lose my glue, and this way it will not harden in the middle because the air just got into it. So that's another tip from me to you. There's some more glitter. There's some more of my nail tool. And see the extra glue that I had left, which I wanted to, leave a little bit on there? I'm adding the glitter. So it looks like the little bumblebee is getting its little pollen from the middle of the flower. Well, that's what it looks like to me. It's nice to have your own concept, isn't it? And then, of course, as I told you before, I'm kind of mixing it in and pressing it down so the glue can pick up as much glitter as it likes. And whatever the leftover glitter is, I just discard it. I don't want to have a hot mess. So here I am. I'm off screen, but I'm using my trash can to dump things out. And more in there as well. So even I dumped the majority out already, there was still some more there. And then I just throw that away. No, I don't reuse it. Not this time. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I will make like a miscellaneous glitter container. And then I put a bunch of different glitter in there. But this one had glue on it, so I really didn't want to mix the gluey glitter all over the place. So here, you see how I twisted the Q-tip just a little bit? Well, it's still moist because I capped off with the glue tip, with the Q-tip It's so hard to say. Try to say this 10 times. I capped off the glue with a Q-tip so it doesn't have air into it. So it was a lot easier to twist it and take the glue off and add it to that piece because it was still moist and wet inside. There, I got that out. Sometimes I get tongue-tied. And I kind of hid that little bumblebee underneath that leaf because, again, this is really not going to be hidden too much because it is see-through, but I like to, bring in surprises. And here, this is an embellishment set that I had, and it has different kinds of adhesives. And I really kind of like that color, and I know my friend, she likes pastel color. She's such an elegant lady. I just love her. She's a sweetheart. And so I wanted to create something very special for her that she can display and just enjoy. She's very kind-hearted, very simple, and yet knows so many different things and ideas and projects, and she's just a doll. So I made this one for her birthday. So I'm adding some glue onto that, and I didn't want to add too much and too high up because I'm pressing it into that side part. And remember this container, you see that? I'm pressing it. It had those little pop-up areas in the middle, and so it was very easy for me to add these embellishments on, and that's one of the things that I really liked as soon as I saw it. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. It can hold so many different places and pieces together. See that? I have a little piece of glue. You probably can't even tell, but I did. So here I am scraping it all off because I didn't want that there. Would anyone have seen it? Probably not. No big deal. I saw it, and I didn't want it there. See, I'm still cleaning it all off. I want to make sure it's nice and tight looking when I'm done with it all. And sometimes those butterflies, here we're coming off a little bit from the glue because I put plenty of glue in there, but I didn't saturate it too much. So this is another little flower piece that I cut out before. And I'm adding this one on too. Super delicate. And I kind of like the way it looked. And these are leftover little flower pieces that I cut out, like a day or two before this project was made for something else. And I wanted to add that on here because I thought that would look really pretty. And again, when you add on things like, especially to a terrarium, you don't have to have everything facing towards you. Because in nature, if you really look at it, like you go out and you walk in a woodsy forest and you look under leaves, you will discover the prettiest mushrooms you can ever think of. And you can have cute little bugs that are under the underside of the mushrooms, where the caps are. So sometimes the discovery is to see something that is underneath something, not necessarily what you see in plain sight. So when I make something, I like to sometimes add hidden areas, hidden subjects, or hidden words. I might even have like a hidden little embellishment. And I do that every so often with my cards, especially when I give it to family members. We have some games that we play with hidden projects inside the cards or hidden words. And we take time to find it. Sometimes that's the first thing we want to look for rather than to read what the message and the sentiment is. So I just like to hide things. So here I am. Look what happened. Boom! That came right off the butterfly. I'm like, okay, well, now let's modify. So that's another thing. For example, and this is why I didn't want to edit this video. If something happens to break in the middle of your project, don't panic. I'm sure you could fix it. You're a crafter. Yes, we can make things work. That's the beauty of our art. We have glue. And we certainly have ideas. So see what I did here? I added that butterfly to the edge. Right there. Right there, to the edge of my project. And it's holding. I just have to press it down and hold on to it. And again, I'm cleaning that top so I don't have it stick on me. And I did leave it, open this time, but it was, thank goodness, not too much. So you see what I just did here? I pressed out all the air just to make sure I'm not going to leave it open. And next thing you know, the whole tube is going to be wasted because I didn't cap it off right away. So if that happens with your glue, that's why I didn't edit this out. I wanted you to see this. Just press out the extra air. Because, as we're squeezing things, part of the glue will go left and right inside the tube. Clean it all off. That way, if you touch it next time, it's not a hot mess. And then your hands stay clean as you're working with your project. You don't have to worry about, using something that you put away and it was so messy that next time you pull it out, you're going to be transferring last week's project onto your current project. So if you keep your surface clean and you keep your material clean, it works out really well in the long run. And look at that. I close the lid again just to make sure that I do not have a problem with fitting things into that cupcake holder. And I'm closing it one more time because I did notice a little bit of glue on top. And so if you happen to, let's say, make a mess on something like this, you can add an embellishment on top. You could put something there to hide it because you don't want to leave it there and hoping somebody won't notice, because what if they do? They might say, yeah, no big deal, who cares? I'm not like that, because if I notice and it bothers me, then it's going to probably bother somebody else too, so I kind of make it look nice. See the bottom? Now here at the bottom, I could have added some moss. And I could have added maybe another piece of paper, just cut it out and glue everything on it, but I really didn't want to do that. I really wanted to show this is all handmade and really started from scratch. And when I told my friend this was a cupcake holder, she was laughing. She was like, seriously? I said, yes, it's a cupcake holder. and she said, oh, this is a great idea. I want one. So I just think this is the coolest cupcake holder I've ever seen. I'm just so jazzed about this. See how little things like this can make me happy? Isn't that silly? I'm so thrilled about a silly cupcake holder made out of plastic. But I was absolutely thrilled that my husband knew that. So when he brought that home, he knew. He knew. He knew what makes me happy. And he knows what makes me happy. Plastic. Oh, so here I am. What I did is I add a little bit of a hole right on top, because I'm going to make this hang. This is going to be a hanging project. And you guys know I do make different projects that hang, because sometimes I make things, ornaments or things that will display. And I enjoy doing that. But as you can see, I'm struggling. It doesn't want to come through. So what I did here is I'm trying to figure out a different way, because that hole is pretty small. And I didn't want to make it bigger. I didn't want to have this enormous hole coming through. So I figured maybe if I'm using different ways of folding this ribbon and trying to get it through, it'll be easier. So I'm showing this to you, what it took for me to get that ribbon through it. So I just put it in as a glob. I just kind of globbed it all together. And of course you want to be careful with your finger. Get it out of the way. So watch it. It looks like I'm closer, but I'm not that close. And so I'm trying to press through. But I don't want to bust the top of this container, because if I do, my whole project goes. I'm sure I could have figured out a way to do it, a different way. If, for example, I cracked the lid. So I probably would have had a lot of embellishments on top. So instead I just decided, okay, better just make that hole a little bit bigger, just enough to have this ribbon go through, because this is a sheer ribbon. And I thought this blue with the polka dots was really a nice added texture to it. You see this? I'm still messing around with it. Still trying to make it work. And, I wanted you, again, to see this. This is why I didn't edit this part out either, because sometimes you might have things that don't go your way. And there's no need to get upset, no need to say 4-letter words. Don't need to mention people's uncles and aunts or mothers. Don't need to say how far they have to go and where. So don't need to do any of that. So just be patient and keep working at it. Sometimes when you do things, it takes a little longer, but that's okay. That's the beauty of it. It's all about patience. And the other thing too, when you, for example, if you were to do this with family members or your kids, this is a great way to teach them patience, because sometimes you know how we try things and they don't quite go the way we want them to go. And, some people lose their temper super fast. And boy, they get all angry and upset and yell and scream, and it doesn't work. And this is a great way of teaching patience. Sometimes things don't work out the way you want them right away. That's okay. Keep at it. That doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're going to try to work it a different way. Just an opportunity to try a different way. That's all it is. And so with crafting, I've learned that at a very young age, as far as making anything, keep on trying. And as you can see, I'm trying. I'm trying really, really hard, and I'm relentless. I don't give up. I'm not one of those kinds of people likes to give up. Especially when it's a fun project like this. So here I am. Yes, I'm bending this, and sure, I so could have edited this out, and say, oh yeah, I put it right through. It took me 3 seconds. There you go. Boo, boo, boo. I didn't do that. So here it is. What am I doing? Making the hole bigger again, because if it doesn't work, you got to work with it. So no matter how small I wanted that hole to work, it didn't. That's my point. There it is. Now it did. So if something doesn't work out and logic tells you to do it a different way, guess what? Follow your logic. Do it a different way. Because we all saw that hole was super small from beginning, right? You saw that. I saw that. And what did I want to do? No, I'll make it work. I'll make it work. Did it work? No. So what did I have to do at the very end? I had to go and get a bigger surface area opened up in order for that ribbon to go through. So it's a great lesson in life. If logic tells you to do things one way and you're insisting, no, you want to do it your way, you want to do it your way, and if for some reason it doesn't work, don't get mad, just give in and say, okay, we'll make it work. Now watch this. You see how I accidentally right there, as I'm pulling through the ribbon, I made a bow? Look at that. Honestly, it was an accident. I didn't plan it that way. I made that bow go through, and if you want, rewind it. I didn't rewind the tape here because I really wanted you to get the full concept without me going back and forth and slowing things down or rewinding. But look at this. With me looping that's the second half of that ribbon through, I made a bow that's basically a see-through bow from top to the bottom of that lid container's top. So it looks like my bow was magically made in the middle. Well, it looks like that to me. So you might go, no, it doesn't look magical, but it did to me. So I left it that way. So look, my blunder and my blooper on trying to get that hole and the small hole and trying to get things through. Look how well it came out. So I really, really like that. So I decided to add a bead, a beautiful heart bead, because I really didn't want that bow to disappear. I really like how it turned out. I was like, wow, I just did something new. Now watch, you guys are going to comment and say, oh, I've known that. I know how to do that. I've done that a million times, which is okay, but I didn't. So this was a discovery for me. And I was so jazzed. I was like, look what I did. In my mind, I'm like, yay. I'm like a little dog getting a treat. All happy. But it was such a nice little discovery. So now I know how to do that. So if anytime I will have next time a bow that I need to make in a see-through container like this, I know how to do that. So to me, struggling a little bit and learning something new was very well worth it. And again, that's a nice lesson in life too. If you have to struggle a little bit, but you learn something along the way, it's worth it. It's like a life lesson. So when I craft and I create things, a lot of times I get a life lesson out of it, and I didn't even plan it that way. It just happened, but I do recognize the message. So I hope that kind of helps you guys. Anyways, you're probably going, she's too philosophical for me. So, with that being said, sorry. Sorry. So what I did here, I'll just continue with my little crafting project here for you. I am cutting the ends of the ribbon because here I am back again with something small and trying to make something go through something small. Right? This whole project was about that. So now I want to take the tip of this ribbon and thread it through that cute little bead that's heart-shaped. And I already did it on the other one, so I wanted to get it through this one. And it was so much easier on the other one for some reason, the other end, but for this one it was a little bit of a struggle. See, so look what I'm trying to do here. This is a tip from me to you. If that little end didn't quite go through the way it was supposed to, well, you can harden it. And I use glue to do that. So I'm taking this wonderful glue of mine. And of course, I don't know if you saw that earlier, but I did touch the container's top by accident, so I went to take that off. And I'm just making a tip. Look at that. Just by using a little bit of the glue. And this way, it'll help you get that little piece go through right there. Look at this. See that? So anytime you want to get your ribbons through something smaller, that's a good tip. Just wash your hand after. Well, I did. I cleaned my hand up because it's not only sticky, but I don't like that glue feeling because it does dry my hand out. And I have a little wet cloth next to me, so when I do a quick wash like that, I just use that. And then, of course, I cut off that extra gluey piece, I should say, the piece that was glued, so it doesn't look like so messy of a piece when it's all said and done. And then I tie my knot again to make sure that I can keep the little heart right there. See that? And I went out of frame just a little bit over here because I'm trying to show you the bow, and I made it a little bit too low. I wanted to get it closer to the top portion. And so what I'm doing here is I'm taking that piece and pulling it up to get it closer to my bead. And sorry, I went out of frame just a little bit here. Again, I was so concentrating on trying to tie this double knot and getting close to the bow. I didn't quite realize this, but you got the idea. And I did a double knot because that little hole is pretty small, so I didn't want that sheer ribbon to just have that bead slip through. So now when you look at this, and of course I trimmed the ends. So now when you look at this, it looks like you have a lovely bow that goes right through the container, and you got two little hearts, one on the inside and one on the outside. And here I'm just double checking things again as far as how they look, the arrangement, and kind of twisting and turning to make sure they're in piece and things have glued and I don't have a big mess. Terrariums are usually sealed, but you can open them up to water your plants that are inside or whatever you have. And so that was my concept and that was my inspiration. So I decided to make this so you can open it up and you can also close it. So I'm using brads, and I like brads. And guess what? I had the colors that matched my little project just right. Again, this is something you can pick up at a craft store, and I get these again when they're on sale. I don't like to pay full price because things are not cheap. And I'm punching a little hole that goes right through. And since this container was for the cupcake, it already had a very nice seal on the package. So it had, one of those presses that you kind of press down, it goes pop, and then when you need to open it up, you just kind of open the edges and it goes pop again. But I didn't want to run the chance of this being dropped and then it pops open. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So what I did is right where that pop area is, I kind of pressed my tool through it, put a hole, and put a brad right through that. See? It's already there. It already has the area. So I was like, why not? Super easy. Right in there, just press and put the brad right through it. This way, for some reason, my friend who received this wants to open this or whatever she wants to do with it. It's not difficult. You just take your brad and it's just folding over from the bottom. See that? It's just, two little prongs left and right. Super easy. Look at that. And it holds very well. And so if it does get dropped or turned upside down, everything that's in there is not going to fall through. And what I did is I pressed the edges of the brad inside really well on that container. It has like a little open spot on the bottom, and I pressed that through so it doesn't have a problem with poking somebody. So if somebody is going to get it and touch it, they're not going to get hurt, because I always watch for that too. And here's my treasure bag with my ladybugs. I like bugs. I like ladybugs and all these cute little things. You know me. I enjoy little things like this. So here I am between watching TV and creating the terrarium. Excuse me, not a terrarium. Jeez Louise, terrarium. And adding my little ladybugs. So I'm having so much fun. I was watching a very good movie. So if you hear any background noise and shooting, I was watching an action movie. I like that. So I put my little ladybug on that itty bitty little piece of glue that was not coming off properly from the edge of the top of the container. Again, I don't like to make it look messy, and I figured with a ladybug it's a perfect little touch because it already had a little piece of glue on there. So yay, it made it work. So you see how cute it turned out? I just really, really like this. Look at that. It looks pretty clean to me on the bottom, and my friend really liked it, and she enjoyed it. And you can actually hang it up where the top is, the top portion of that bow is, the double bow, because this is not heavy at all whatsoever. It's very, very light. You guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope my concept idea gives you an idea too, and you're able to make something and enjoy it. And if you happen to goof, just remember it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. You know, nothing is perfect in life. It's all about enjoying things and the journey we take, and learn if we happen to goof or make an error like I did here, as you remember earlier. But enjoy your projects. I hope one day my card art will become your card art, and everything that you make, you find a lot of joy in it. And you guys, I appreciate you, your feedback, your comments, and your subscriptions. Thanks a million for all of it. You guys have a wonderful day. Take care.